Okay, continuing on in our series on professionalism, now I'd like to talk to you about personal introductions. That is one of three scenarios. When you're introducing someone else as part of a conversation, you're being introduced into a conversation, or someone is being introduced to you. What is the appropriate etiquette? And how can you practice to be better at this? Well, I've broken down the different elements that go into introducing others, being introduced, or someone's being introduced to you, just to identify the things that you can practice and give you a brief example of how you would do that. So to start with, if you're going to introduce someone comes up while you are having a conversation. Well, first you're going to adjust your body position to allow them into the conversation. That's oftentimes, inviting them in that way. Okay, saying their name clearly to the other person, right? Hello, this is Jane Smith, and identifying their association with you. She is the whatever position she holds, or her connection to you type scenario, and vice versa. Also identifying the other person to whom you are introducing Jane Smith. Generally, you're going to introduce the person that comes up first, right? Type scenario. And if the individuals already know each other, you can simply do the affirming aspect of, do you know so-and-so type scenario, so you can introduce them in that way, okay? And then it is proper etiquette to give them an intro into the conversation. Jane, we were just talking about so-and-so. John said that, that gets the conversation and brings the person into the conversation in a professional manner, right? Now, if you are the person being introduced, how should you comport yourself? Well, to start with, obviously, you're going to be engaging, friendly. Generally, that means smiling, confidence, making eye contact with the person to whom you're being introduced. When you make your way into the conversation, you may lock eyes first on the person who you know, who is introducing you, but then to turn and to confidently make eye contact with the first person to whom you're being introduced. Once again, it is a very big turnoff to not make eye contact with the person. It shows, it signals to the other person either you don't want to be engaged with them, which is the negative perception, or more likely it's simply that it's a lack of confidence on your part, and you don't want to signal that either, because once again they're both interpreted negatively. Standing up straight, looking someone in the eye, shaking their hand, and introducing themselves using pleasantries such as, very nice to meet you, it's a pleasure, I hope I'm not interrupting, that type of thing. You may immediately ask a question about the other person to show that you have some level of knowledge or familiarity with them, or you have interest in them. So are you so-and-so, or are you that type of thing, right? Just to endear yourself to that person in a way, or create a connection with that person and segue into the conversation. Also, if it's just a temporary introduction and you're not going to be highly involved in the conversation, then knowing how to appropriately break away. And that's normally through, once again, telling the person that it was a pleasure to make your acquaintance, or a pleasure to see you again. To the person who introduced you, to tell them that, thank you very much for introducing me, inviting me into a conversation. I need to do so-and-so. Once again, enjoy your conversation, that type of thing. And then break away professionally, once again, just as you came in. And if someone is introduced to you, how do you act or react in that scenario? Well, you want to be inviting to the person. You want to, as someone comes up, acknowledge them, make eye contact. Don't stay closed off with the person you're talking to, because that does this effect and appears to exclude them or make them feel awkward coming into the conversation. That doesn't endear someone to you at all. It signals standoffishness. So turn to the person, open up, make eye contact, and be receptive, being inviting to them. Be ready to shake hands with the individual and identify yourself, particularly when asked, if they identified themselves first appropriately. Hopefully the other person is exercising etiquette and not simply trying to steal the person away who is speaking with you, that they actually do want to be part of the conversation and not an interruption type scenario. I see instances of poor etiquette in that regard all the time. People simply want to steal someone away from a conversation, and actually is very rude and demeaning to the other person who is left with a broken conversation there. So once again, if someone's introduced to you, well, ask engaging questions of them. Ask something that identifies them personally, or identifies a connection they have, or something that you notice about them that can be flattering, that type of thing. Once again, and whatever their response is, remain engaged. And obviously the person who's doing the introducing should navigate the logistics of the conversation as well, to invite the other person in. If they don't, maybe perhaps you could take it upon yourself to say, we were just talking about so-and-so. Is that something that interests you, or somehow segue them into the conversation that you were having previously? Okay, so practicing these things is crucial, because it does not come naturally always. It oftentimes is not easy, but doing it well can significantly improve the potential for creating a positive opportunity based upon introducing, being introduced, or having someone introduced to you.